Hey guys, what is up? Dutch Texan here, and I'm reviewing a car in a very different surrounding than usual. That's right, I'm in the Netherlands, and next to me is my brother Koen. And he's going to tell you a little bit about this little car that I'm driving right now, this Peugeot 204 from 1972.
We bought the car at a dealer who got the car from France, Département Soissat-Neuf. That's in the south of France, and while the car was in such good condition that my friend and I decided to buy the car together. After 2 years we went to Paris with the car, through Belgium, and not on the highway but just driving around on the local ways and local roads, and well, that's what we want to do with the car, just driving it around in special occasions. And
this is always a funny thing in Holland. You see all this stuff, like the roads are not very wide. This is actually one of the wider ones. You come across this kind of stuff. Imagine that on a road that's just wide enough for 1.5 cars.
No power steering. Oh,
no power
God,
steering, no nothing. But it's French comfort though. That awesome suspension. I actually used to own a Peugeot 305 and a 405, and the suspension is exactly the same or very similar. It's just very comfortable over those bumps. It just glides over it. Kind of reminds you of my Grand Marquis, really. You know, this car is just more geared towards nice cruising instead of corner carving, because it's definitely not quick. Now this comes equipped with a 1.1 liter or 1130cc engine. It's also equipped, as you saw me try to shift this thing, with a 4 on the tree, which is, see, now I'm trying to get in third and it's not working out, so I got to go back in second, and I'm having a roundabout up here, so I got to stay in second anyway, so I'm slowing down. I'm going to take this all the way around. And like I said, it just doesn't have a lot of power. 56 horsepower and 89, not pound-feet of torque, but newton meters of torque, because this is of course Europe. You can do the, there we go. Okay, my brother had to point at the right lever, because everything is different. Everything on this car, except for the steering wheel, is backwards. You know, it's French ingenuity, I suppose. I don't know, 1972, you know, I wasn't around, my brother wasn't around. And it's just weird. You have the indicator stalk on the right side, which normally also houses where you put your key, but in this case it's on the other side. It's on the left side for the driver. You put the key in there, and normally you would do this, but in this car you actually do that. It's just, French are weird. That's the only way to really say something about it. But the thing that I love about this car, it just glides on over, and it's 1972. I'm gonna have a turn up here. You know, it's no power steering either, and we're gonna have the brakes. We're gonna have to try these brakes out. Oh, and again, I'm making a mistake of using the wrong lever, or trying to use the wrong lever. Yes, I got it in third gear without a problem. This is just such a nice little car. You know, I love classic cars, and I thought, you know, I'd bring you one from the Netherlands, or at least France, because of course, obviously, you wouldn't find this. Now, right now, I'm doing about 80 kilometers an hour, and we're gonna keep with that European theme. Now, top speed, Koen, how fast have you gotten this thing up to?
Well, I don't think we ever got it at its top speed, because it's an old car, and it was shut down for around 5 years before we bought the car, and I think the top speed we got it on was I think 120 kilometers an hour, and we didn't even thought about trying to drive faster, because even now when you're driving 60 or 70 or 80 kilometers an hour, you can hear the wind, and the car isn't built for that speed. And when we got to 120 kilometers an hour, we were like, oh my god, we're in a rocket or something like that, and we just stopped and thought, well, 100 kilometers an hour is pretty much the speed that suits the car. So not went to Germany to drive 200 kilometers an hour just because the car doesn't even get to, I think, well, 150 kilometers an hour. I think that's the max.
You know, I don't know what kind of revs we're running right now either. You know, it feels like it's already trying to strain doing 80 kilometers an hour, and I think this car is most happy around that speed. It can definitely do more than that for sure, but why would you want to do that? It's such a nice car to drive slow, and people understand that too. You know, they're behind a classic car and they know, you know, you're not going to be as fast. But you could also be behind a tractor, which is, you know, arguably way worse, like that. See what I mean? Actually, the brakes are pretty darn good for a little old car. Now, there's some shimmying going on in the steering, obviously. Now, it probably needs a little bit of alignment and stuff like that. And I keep mistaking the, looks like, high beams and low beams lever with the indicator lever. Such a nice little car to drive, man. I love this thing. Now, as far as comfort, you know, I think it's pretty comfortable. These seats, of course, you don't have a backrest. They didn't have that back in the day, but they're nice, plush, and even after all those years, they still look great. You know, every single time I see a newer car that's maybe 10 years old, the seat is already starting to get kind of crappy, and this is just still absolutely great. Back to second gear here. No power steering. You're trying to do the things you normally do, and it just is a little bit harder in an old car. You just have to get used to that. Window up and let's see what the wind noise is like. You see, you just hear the engine trying to work hard at doing 80 kilometers an hour, and like I said, I think this is the best speed to be at for this car, 100%. As far as the interior, I actually like it a lot. You know, I'm partial to French cars. Very unfortunate you can't get them in the United States anymore. I wish they brought them back, honestly, because they have award-winning diesels. They have a great look to them, and especially the older models, of course. You know, I'm very partial to the 70s, 80s, and 90s, primarily because the designer of the car, the designer was Pininfarina, and they also, of course, Ferrari. As far as interior space, you think, you know, a small car won't have interior space. I can actually tell you out of experience that I can actually still sit back there while a similarly sized person's in the front, which, you know, you'll also see right now. And of course, you know, whenever you come across one of these speed humps, it doesn't matter at all. It just glides over, no problem at all. Whoa, okay, chicane, here we go. That suspension though, it just goes all over the place.
Actually, the suspension is independable, so it was very new at that time for Peugeot to deliver a car who has all the four wheels with the independent, how do you call that?
Independent suspension.
Yeah, independent suspension. Yeah.
Actually, does pretty good. I'm surprised. I'm not really slowing down much. Our legal speed limit here is 60 kilometers an hour, and it just takes these chicanes just fine. And here comes another part of Dutch heritage. Cyclists on the right and water on the left. We are now on the guide.
Oh man, the water is very high on the moment. Last year the water was almost over this road.
Uh-oh, can we get in here?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to turn around here.
Yeah.
Because there's no way we're gonna be making that.
No.
We'll just go down in here and then that's going to be interesting too. We could just U-turn in his lawn. Should we do that? Nah. This does not have hill assist. Skills. And the power steering thing again. These tires are 145 wide. So, and I found this Fury 69, I believe, and it didn't have power brakes. It also didn't have power steering. So I was like, whatever, you know, it'd have to be a man's car. This is already pretty hard to steer, and it has 145 tires on it. That one, arguably, is going to be wider, and it's also going to be a lot heavier. That had a 6 inline in front, but still, that's a big C-body car, and this is a little itty-bitty little car that weighs less than 1,000 kilograms. That's probably also the reason why it's a little bit peppy. Another thing that I, of course, have to bring up is the trunk sizes, and historically, from all the Peugeots that I have seen, you also always have a ton of room in the trunk. Just a little bit of an incline, third gear, 40 kilometers an hour, no problem. I'm over the water now. Very awesome. And you know what's a funny thing with this gearbox? It's exactly the same, the pattern, as it is when you have it on the floor. And I also still like to shift from fourth to third or from third to fourth. That is the best shift ever. And like my regular manual transmission, I absolutely hate to shift from second to third. And it's just funny how even on a tree, it's the exact same way. I get a freaking bus over here. These dikes are absolutely amazing, except when you get traffic that's coming towards you. Suspension though. Man, I love this. The gauges on this car are absolutely awesome too. We're getting a little bit of different. Here we go. That one would have probably taken out the undercarriage if we'd gone over that at 60. You really had to slow down on that one. Well.
Oh my God.
We can't go anywhere in the dikes because they closed them especially for us. We're just going to go down here. We're going to turn around.
No, go straight ahead.
The stuff that happens during car reviews. But you get to see a bunch of Holland, of course, that you normally won't see. This is the school zone. Now, another thing that I, of course, have to talk about is the safety features on an old car. This actually does have seat belts, as you can see, but the construction's kind of weird. You grab it from here and then you put it across and you attach it to some kind of weird buckle over here. To unbuckle it, you actually have to pull it towards you, and then you can pull it out and put it back in this retaining clip over here, which is kind of weird. But it also is kind of fitting, because this car, since the beginning, because my brother got this car and it already had a key ring with it, and the key ring has Saint Christopher on the key ring. And if you know anything about saints, that would be the patron saint of good travels. And I, you know, ironically enough, think that you really need to have that with you. And look, you get that stuff everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go with old cars. It always brings a smile on people's faces. As a final conclusion on this car, would I buy it? Of course I would, because it's an old car and it's an old French car, and it brings smiles to people's faces, and that is what you want. While we're on this country road, I'd like to end this car review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the countryside. I hope you enjoyed the setup of this car review, because it's a whole lot different than you're used to. And I'll see you on the flip side. Koen, you have anything more to say? Putting you on the spot.
Putting me on the spot. Well, see you in the States, guys.
That's right. You guys take care.
Peugeot 304, la belle blanc fleur. C'est le nom de Peugeot, c'est la belle blanc fleur. Hè?
Als je nou door blijft gaan, dan heb ik twee keuzes. Eén, ik ga de gracht in Daro. Of de andere, ik pak een boom. Als ik nou door blijf lullen in het Frans, dan ga ik daar de gracht in. Of dan ga ik daar tegen de boom aan.
Alors, je ne comprends pas. Alors, je ne parle pas anglais.